Hello and welcome to SureenaSpeaks, and in this video I'm going to go over some more calculation questions. Nope, I don't suddenly like calculations, but I do like you, so you're in for a treat. Now if you look at the GPhC website, if you haven't seen it already, for the pre-reg part 1 of the exam, the part 1 assessment, which is on calculations, they've listed on there, they've bullet pointed types of calculation questions that they may ask. So in this video I've tried to provide examples of each of those types of questions. So that includes, for example, estimations of kidney function using provided formula, dilutions. The only bullet point that I'm not going to cover in this video is regarding displacement. The reason for that is because I've got 2 other videos on calculations where displacement is included in that. So at the end of this video I'll pop up links for those 2 videos for you to go and see. But aside from that, and without further ado, let's start off with some calculation questions. Okie dokie, so please bear in mind that all these questions I am going to put on my Facebook page, facebook.com/SureenaSpeaks. So if you want to have a go at these questions, feel free to access them there, and I'm going to go over the answers here. So with this particular question, I'm actually going to cover off 2 of those bullet points in that list that's been stipulated by the GPhC of the types of calculation questions that they may ask. And that is dose and dose regimens and dosage unit conversions. So you might have one question, but actually it covers off, for example, in this case, 2 of those bullet points. So for this question, a 4-year-old child weighing 17.5 kilograms requires cefalexin 12.5 milligrams per kilogram BD, so twice a day, for 7 days. Calculate the weekly dose for this child. Give your answer in grams. Firstly, apologies because my handwriting is not the best. I'm also going to have to turn the page whilst I write as well. So with questions like this, I always find that if it's saying per kilogram, you're going to have to use the kilogram at some point, usually. And so for this question, it's no different. So we've got 12.5 milligrams per kilogram. So with that being the case, we've got 17.5 kilograms, so we're going to times it. So we've got our 12.5 milligrams times by 17.5 kilograms, and using our GPhC approved calculator, that answer will come to 218.75 milligrams. I told you my handwriting was shocking. So that's not the end of the story though, because we're told that this child is taking it twice a day for 7 days, and the question wants us to work out what the weekly dose is. So, so 218.75 milligrams. If we're taking it for twice a day, we're going to times by 2, and if it's for 1 week, that will be 7 days. So that's going to leave us with 3,062.5 milligrams. But hold on, this question has asked us to give our answer in grams. So it's so important that you actually read carefully what they want you, what the end answer, what units they want you to give the answer in. Don't lose out crucial marks on little things like that. So if we've got 3,062.5 milligrams, to convert to grams, we're going to have to divide by 1,000 to leave us with 3.0625 grams. Now again, that's not the end of the story, because in the exam for part 1, if it doesn't stipulate how many decimal points that it wants you to give the answer to, you have to round your answer to the nearest whole number. Again, don't lose out on little marks for not following simple instructions like that. That is written on the very front cover of the exam as well, so don't lose out on those crucial marks. So in this case, our answer is 3 grams. So our next question is regarding estimations of kidney function, and this question is also going to cover a second point, which is using provided formulae. So again, one question covering off 2 aspects from that list in the GPhC bullet point list that they've put for the part 1 assessment. So in this question, it wants you to give an estimation. Well, first it gives you the formula for estimated creatinine clearance, And the question states that a 69-year-old male patient weighing 88 kilograms and is 5'11" is to be started on metformin. Based on his EGFR, what is the total maximum daily dose that he should be prescribed? Give your answer in milligrams. So with a question like this, they've given us the formula. We can look at, do we know his age? Well, yes, they've told us he's 69. Great. Do we know his weight? Yep, they've told us 88 kilograms. Do we know what the constant is? Well, yes, they've told us. Constant in this case is 1.23. And do we know his serum creatinine? Yes, we do, because that's been written here. Hold up though, they've also given us this additional bit of information about his height. Remember, in the exam they will put random bits of information to throw you off. Just because they put additional numbers in there doesn't mean you have to use them. So in this case, the fact he's 5'11", we don't need to worry about. Now, this is an extract that was taken from the SPC. Bear in mind that they could include extracts from the BNF, SPC, from everything and anything really. So I've said it before and I'll say it again, make sure that you do know the exact layout of an SPC, because all SPCs are laid out in the exact same way, and it will make life so much easier for you in the exam if you know exactly where to look in that SPC for the information. Luckily for this question, the extract that we need has already been given to us. So this one's actually a fairly simple question. So again, we're going to write out this equation, but we'll include the bits of information that we do know. So 140 minus his age of 69 times by his weight of 88, nice little rhyme, times by the constant of 1.23, and we're going to divide the whole lot by 145. And again, we're going to use our GPhC approved calculator, and we end up with 53. And that's 53 mils per minute. So that's not the end of the question though, because we need to work out what his maximum daily dose that he should be prescribed. So this has worked out his GFR. So now using this value, we have to see where that falls within these values. Well, it's 53. 53 falls in the middle of 45 to 59. Therefore, his total maximum daily dose is going to be 2,000 milligrams. And that's our answer. It wants us to give the answer in milligrams. We have our answer in milligrams. Sorted. So now we have a concentration question. Remember, I have made these questions up, so let's just go along with it. Even if it doesn't seem, all that much reasonable, let's just go along with it. So, a cream containing coal tar solution and coconut oil is available at a 70:1 ratio. Calculate the final concentration of coal tar solution if 0.5% coconut oil in 100 grams preparation is added to 50 grams of a 5% coal tar solution containing cream. Give your answer in percentage WW. So, we have coal tar solution to coconut oil in a ratio of 70:1. They've told us that. So we have 0.5% coconut oil in 100 grams. So if we have 0.5% here, I want to work out what that would work out to be with our coal tar solution. So what we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. So to get from 1 to 0.5, you simply divide it by 2. So on this end, we're also going to divide by 2 to leave us with 35% to 0.5%. Now, what does that 35% actually mean? Well, 35% means 35 grams in 100 grams. And over here, we're told that we have 50 grams or a 5% coal tar solution containing cream. So with that in mind, 5% we know means 5 grams in 100 grams. So how much is there going to be in 50 grams? Again, what we do to one side, So we divide by 2 here. We have to do to the other side. So we're going to divide by 2 there as well. And we end up with 2.5 grams in 50 grams. So we have 35 grams and we have 2.5 grams. So we're going to add them to leave us with 37.5 grams. We have 100 grams and we have 50 grams. So that too we'll add together and end up with 150 grams. So now what we actually have is 37.5 grams in 150 grams. But hold on a second, the question is asking us to work out in percentage WW. So that means that it wants us to work our answer in 100 grams. And again, what we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. So you work out how to get from 150 to 100. You do the same thing for this side. You actually end up with 25 grams in 100 grams. So to give our answer in the way that they've asked, our answer is going to be 25% WW. Moving on to dilutions. So Mr. P is using potassium permanganate to clean his wound. You're required to calculate how many grams are needed to make 350 ml of potassium permanganate so that when 10 ml is diluted to 100 ml, it produces a 1 in 10,000 solution. Give your answer to 2 decimal places. So, if we're going from 10 ml to 100 ml, we've times by 10. So we're going from 10 ml to 100 ml. We've times by 10. So what that actually means is that it's a 1 in 10 dilution. One in 10 dilution. So if a 1 in 10 dilution produces a 1 in 10,000 solution, what we need to then do is divide our 10,000 by our 10, and that will give us our initial concentration. So we have our 10,000. We're going to divide that by our 10 to leave us with 1,000. And what that 1,000 represents is our initial concentration, which is 1 in 1,000. So what does 1 in 1,000 mean? It means 1 gram in 1,000 ml. And we have 350 ml. So again, what we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. So we work out how we go from 1,000 to 350, do the same thing on the other side, and we end up with 0.35 grams in 350 ml. They want our answer in 2 decimal places. Our answer is in 2 decimal places. So our final answer is 0.35 grams. Moving on to an example of a question regarding molecular weight. So Mr. G has been advised by his GP to start taking Gaviscon peppermint 10 ml TDS, so 3 times a day. Each 5 ml contains the following. So 250 milligrams of sodium alginate, 133.5 milligrams of sodium bicarbonate, and 80 milligrams of calcium carbonate. Given that the atomic weight of calcium is 40, how many moles of calcium will Mr. G have in 1 day? Give your answer to 3 decimal places. So first and foremost, we want to work out how much he's having per day. So we know he's having 10 ml TDS 3 times a day. So if he's having 10 ml 3 times a day, that means in 1 day he's having 30 ml. And we know, well, the question is just asking us about the moles of calcium. So actually, these bit about sodium alginate, sodium bicarbonate, we don't need to worry about these two bits. We're only really focused on this bit, our 80 milligrams of calcium carbonate. So for every 5 mil, we know that there's going to be 80 milligrams. Therefore, if we want to work out how much is in 30 mil, to get from 5 to 30, we times by 6. So again, what you do to one side, always do to the other side. See a theme going on here? And we end up with 480 milligrams. Now, that's all well and good, but our questions has asked us how many moles of calcium. So our mass divided by MR is going to give us our moles. But hold up a second, moles is only with regards to grams. Millimoles is with regards to milligrams, and at the moment we've been working with milligrams. So with that in mind, we can keep that mass as 480 milligrams. We can divide by our atomic weight of calcium, which is 40, and that's going to give us 12 millimoles, not moles. If this was in grams, this would give us moles. This is in milligrams, so this is giving us millimoles. Therefore, to convert from millimoles to moles, we divide by 1,000. And we get our answer of 0.012 moles. Question wants it to be in 3 decimal places. We have it in 3 decimal places. Whoop, whoop, happy days. So next topic on our list is infusion rates. So Mrs. R, 59, weighs 65 kilogram and requires dobutamine at a dose of 4 micrograms per kilogram per minute over 3 hours. What volume in milliliters of 0.5% WV infusion is required? Give your answer to 1 decimal place. Don't be scared by questions like this. So we've got 4 micrograms per kilogram per minute. We have how much she weighs, that's good. So let's start off there. If we have 4 micrograms per kilogram, then all we have to do is times our 4 by 65, because she weighs 65 kilograms, and we end up with 260 micrograms. Now that's actually 260 micrograms per minute, because that's what we've been told here. But this infusion is going to be given over 3 hours. So if we have 3 hours, convert that to minutes, is 180 minutes. And we have our 260 micrograms per minute. Therefore, in 180 minutes, we just times the 2 together, and we end up with a nice long number of 46800 micrograms. Let's convert that to milligrams. So we get 46.8 milligrams. So now we know that, let's just park that for a moment. We're told that the volume in milliliters of 0.5% WV infusion. What does 0.5% WV mean? It means 0.5 grams in 100 mils. It also means 500 milligrams in 100 mils. All we've done is convert that 0.5 grams into milligrams. So we know how much is in 500 milligrams in 100 mils. We've got 46.8 milligrams. What we could actually do at this point is simplify this further to say that in every mil there is 5 milligrams. All we've done is divide it by 100 on each side. We want to know how much is in 46.8 milligrams. Well, if we work out how to get from 5 to 46.8, sorry, what we do to one side, we have to do to the other side, and we end up with 9.36 mils. Hold up a second, that's not our answer though, because our question has asked us to give it to one decimal place. Therefore, our answer is 9.4 mils of the 0.5% WV solution, which is required for the infusion. So let's move on to pharmacokinetics. So a doctor has administered Miss L with drug Z 48 hours ago at an initial dose of 890 milligrams. Drug Z has a half-life of 8 hours. Assuming elimination process of first order kinetics, calculate the plasma concentration in milligrams of drug Z in Miss L 26 hours after it was initially administered. Give your answer to one decimal place. So there's various ways that you can think of this question and how to work it out. I'll show you two approaches, both of which do use the same method. It's more about how you're initially thinking of it. You'll see what I mean. So if we think about this first approach, at 0 hours, she was given 890 milligrams. We know that because that's the initial dose that was given. 8 hours later, so 8 hours later, if it has a half-life of 8 hours, that means that at 890 is going to be halved, which means that 8 hours later, there was 445 milligrams. Let's keep going. So let's go to 16 hours later. Again, this is going to be halved to 222.5 milligrams. Then another 8 hours later, which gives us 24 hours later. That again is going to be halved to give us 111.25 milligrams. But this question is asking about it being given 26 hours after the initial administration. So if it was given 48 hours ago and 26 hours have now passed, that means that we're looking at 22 hours. So where does 22 hours fit? It fits here. 22 hours later. This is what we are now trying to work out. The other way of thinking of it, if I just draw a line there, for example, is 48 hours ago, she was initiated with 890 milligrams. Then 8 hours later, which gives us 40 hours ago, she was initiated, well, she had in her 445 milligrams. 32 hours ago, there would have been 222.5 milligrams. 24 hours ago, there would have been 111.25 milligrams. And this question has asked us, what was the administration after 26 hours? So 26 hours fits here. So regardless of which way you want to think about it, you're going to end up at that same point with either strategy. It's just for some of you, you might find it easier to understand it in this way. So at 0 hours, she was given 890 milligrams, then 8 hours later, 445, another 8 hours, etc. Or you might like to think of it as 48 hours ago, she was given 890 milligrams. That means now from where I am, 40 hours ago, there would have been 445 milligrams. 32 hours ago, there would have been 222.5, and so forth. So, if we go back to this one, now, between here and here, we know that 8 hours has passed. So let's work out what the milligrams was per hour between this section. How can we do that? So we're going to work out 111.25 divided by 8, because 8 hours is in between these two parts, our 24 hours and our 16 hours. And we're left with a nice jazzy number. 13.90625 per hour. Now, 16 hours later, 222.5 milligrams was given. So let's jot that down. What we want to do is minus it by 13.90625 times by 6. Why 6? Well, because we're working out how much was given 22 hours ago. Well, 22 hours from that 0 hour starting point. And 22 minus 16 hours gives us 6. If we're working how much there is per hour, and all together between these two parts there was 6 hours gap, we want to work out what that total was for that 6 hours and minus it from our 222.5 milligrams. And that will leave us with 139.0625. The question has asked us to give our answer to one decimal place, therefore our answer is 139.1. Now, if you wanted to think of it with this approach, it's the same thing. Again, you're going to be working out what is per hour. So again, you're still going to think of 111.25 divided by 8 hours, because that's how many hours there are between 111.25, well, when it dropped from 222.5 milligrams to 111.25. Divide that by that 8 hours to get our answer per hour. And again, our 222.5 milligrams minus our 13.90625, timesing it by 6. Again, why 6? Because we're going from 32 hours to 26 hours. We worked out what it is per hour. So to work out how many hours that it is between those two, we have our 6 hours. So if it's 13.90625 per hour, we're going to work out how much it is in 6 hours, minus it from our 222.5, and again, we're going to end up with our answer. Let's move on to health economics. So the local CCG has asked prescribers in the area, if appropriate, to switch some of their patients from Seretide 250 EVO inhaler to Sedupla 25 by 250 dose inhaler. One particular GP surgery identifies 40 suitable patients. Their policy is that they only prescribe 1 inhaler a month and they issue 12 repeats a year. Calculate the total saving that can be made for the year, give your answer in pounds and pence, and it's told us that Seretide 250 EVO inhaler is 34.57, and for our Sedupla 250 it is £29.32. So, for this question, let's first work out, what we can identify from this is that Seretide 250 EVO inhaler, that's going to be 34.57 per month. And it's the same for our Sedupla. That's going to be per month. Now we're told that the GP issues 1 inhaler a month with 12 repeats a year. Therefore, in a year, they should in theory have 12 inhalers, and that we need to look at 40 patients. So all we're simply doing is timesing. So if we start off with Seretide, I'm going to call this A, I'm going to call Sedupla B. So for A, we have our £34.57, timesing it by our 12 repeats, times it by our 40 patients, and we end up with £16,593.60. We're going to do the same thing with our Sedupla. So we have £29.32, times it by our 12 repeats, times it by our 40 patients, and we end up with £14,073.60. We want to calculate the amount of saving that is going to be made. So simply, we just minus these two. And we end up with our saving of £2,520.00. pence. They want the answer in pounds and pence, therefore we have to make sure that we include that 00 onto the answer sheet. If you just put the answer down as 2520, they won't mark that as correct. They want you to put that 00 because they said give your answer in pounds and pence. They asked give your answer in pounds, then it would just be 2520, don't add in the 00. Because they've asked give your answer in pounds and pence, you need to put that 00 on there. Last but not least, let's look at quantity to supply. So you work as a responsible pharmacist in a busy store that offers a travel clinic service. Becky and Robert are going to Papua New Guinea for their 14-day honeymoon and want to purchase malaria tablets for the prophylaxis of falciparum malaria. Neither takes any additional medication or allergies, and the most suitable antimalarial tablets for both of them is Malarone, 250 mg per 100 mg. The dose from the BNF is as follows, and they've given us our extract. Calculate the number of tablets for the full course required for both Becky and Robert if they start their treatment 2 days before they fly out. So if we look at our extract from the BNF, they've written for the indication of prophylaxis of falciparum malaria, particularly where resistance to other antimalarial drugs are suspected. And they've also written for the treatment of acute uncomplicated falciparum malaria, treatment of non-falciparum malaria. Well, this one is said is for the prophylaxis of falciparum malaria, so it's not this one. This is the only one that we're interested in, the prophylaxis of falciparum malaria. So Robert and Becky, they're going to take it 2 days beforehand, before they fly out. Even if you check the dose, it says 1 tablet daily to be started 1 to 2 days before entering the endemic area and continued for 1 week after leaving. So with that in mind, they're going to start taking these tablets 2 days before they fly out. They're going to be out there for 14 days. It's all right for some, isn't it? And we're told by the BNF that they need to continue their course for 1 week after leaving. So 1 week is 7 days. And that in total is going to give us 23 tablets. But that's 23 tablets for one person. We have 2 people. We have Becky and we have Robert. Therefore, simply 23 times 2, and we end up with our 46 tablets. Where could you have gone wrong with this question? Well, if you used the treatment of acute uncomplicated falciparum malaria instead of this one, you could have got the question wrong there. If, for example, you didn't read the question carefully and you only worked out the treatment for just Becky or just Robert and put 23. So very important that you do read the question very, very carefully. And the other place where you might have slipped up on is if you didn't notice this bit, the continue for 1 week after leaving the endemic area. So you may have been tempted to just do 2 plus 14 times it by 2 people, but that wouldn't have been the full course because they have to continue the treatment for 7 days after they come back. So there you go, there are examples from the GPhC breakdown, the bullet points they've put on there, the different types and styles of calculation questions that they could ask, and here now you have examples of each. So as mentioned before, I do have 2 other videos on calculations, so make sure to check those out too, and I hope you found this video useful. And as I mentioned before, I will be uploading all those questions onto my Facebook page, so facebook.com/SureenaSpeaks. Also do check out my Insta and Twitter as well @SureenaSpeaks, and if you like this video, why not give it a thumbs up, share, like, subscribe, and until next time, good luck with your revision and happy revisings.